The Yorubas living in Kwara State have been subjected to slavery by Fulanis. There is a serious argument right now from the Yoruba leaders saying that the Kwara State was not officially handed over to the Fulanis. Whatever that has beginnings must always have an end. Could this be the end of Fulani reign in Ilori or Kwara State? Truth be told, in Kwara State, you see men and women, Yoruba men and Yoruba women protesting against the Fulani activities, the kidnapping, the abduction, and so many things that are going on in Kwara State. And you never see Fulani women nor men protesting against this same thing in Kwara State. This is to tell you that the Yorubas in Kwaras have been subjected to slavery. And what is stopping the Yoruba elders to call for plebiscite or to forcefully retain their land back is what we don't understand. In this video, you will hear things that will make you to marvel. Please follow me. First thing first, I want to show you this video and I will come back.
Leave them. I'm out of here.
I brought this video to you not for violence sake, just to drive home some points. This woman here is crying, and there are many at this place protesting against the Fulani herdsmen in Kwara State, protesting against the unaliving and kidnappings that have been happening here and here in Ilorin or in Kwara State. The women of Kwara State can no longer bear it. They can't bear it any longer because their uncles are being slaughtered, their husbands are being killed, their son leave home and they never return back due to the Fulani's activities being melted on them. And they are crying, and they went to the government house to actually register their grievance so as to salvage the situation on ground. But at the end of the day, you see some touts in this video chasing them out, flogging them out of the premises, telling them to leave this place. They don't want to set their eyes on protesters, on women protesting at the government house. So this was what actually happened in this video. But listen, the woman or the women, you could hear them saying, Egbamio, Egbamio. Egbami in Yoruba, the last time I checked, is don't kill us, so help us. Government, come and help us. And thereafter, the thugs that came flogging these people out of these premises, they were also saying, Kurobe, Kurobe, meaning in Yoruba, live here. We don't want to see you people here. Live there. They were flogging them and all that. And the last part of it was, at the background of this whole video, we could hear people saying, if you want to feel meaning that leave these people alone, let them, if they want to leave these premises, let them live in peace. Let them live in peace. Though I put my ear down, I listened very carefully to see if I will hear Hausa language or Fulani language in this video, but I could not hear one. It means that predominantly the Yoruba dominate the populations or dominate Kwara and Ilori as a state. So the question is, what is now stopping the Yoruba leaders to call for plebiscite or to retake this land back to the Yorubas? What is actually happening? If event like this happen and you don't see Fulanis around, see Fulani women, see Fulani men also crying for what is happening, the atrocity that is happening in Kwara State, this is to show you that the Yorubas in Kwara have been subjected to slavery. They have been subjected to public ridicule. And that is what is happening in Kwara State right now. And the leaders of Yorubas are not ready to fight this, because this is one fight that if person like Tinubu fight it, Yoruba as a whole will not forget him in history. Because we could see that these guys are actually suffering in the hand of the Fulani, of which they are the minority in Kwara State. If not reclaiming the whole Kwara, why not call for plebiscite? Why not allow the people to choose where they will belong to? Because it happened years ago between Cameroon and Nigeria. Why not fight to retake this land back? And there is an argument that the land was not officially handed over to the Fulanis. The idea that Fulani are taking Kwara to the north is more of a political ethnic narrative than an official policy. And I must tell you, and Yoruba leaders themselves are not united in one clear position on this matter. And that is just the truth. What exists is a mix of concern, denial, and political interpretations. I must tell you, number one thing you need to know is that no official handover to the north, no official handover of Kwara State to the north. There is no formal government decision or policy moving Kwara State into North Nigeria. Kwara is constitutionally part of Nigeria North Central Zone, not the Southwest. Its identity has always been mixed Yoruba, Fulani, and Nukwe, or what is it called? Is it Bariba, etc., and some other subgroups. So, claim of taking Kwara to the north are political rhetorics, not laws or policy. And number two thing you need to know is that Yoruba leaders are divided, not speaking with one voice concerning this whole thing. And some Yoruba activists and groups are worried about this matter right now. Certain Yoruba commentators and pressure group are arguing that political dominance in Ilori, that is the Emirate, leans towards Northern Fulani's influence. Security issues, banditry, jihadist attack are seen by some as a northern spillover into Kwara. And there have been, accusations from some Yoruba's voices that leadership decisions are, favoring the Fulani interest or weak in protecting Yoruba communities. Also, something strange is happening in Kwara State right now, and there is a paradigm shift in Kwara State. In today's political broadcast, I will be telling you the move by President Bola Ahmed Tinubu to reclaim Kwara State back to western part of Nigeria or to Yoruba, while Igboho abandoned them in the hand of Fulani herdsmen, and where would they like to be? In today, I shall be telling you where the Kwara State will become if there is division in Nigeria, or if there is anything like plebiscite, where you are meant to choose where you will go, whether north or south. Kwara have definitely a choice to make in this form. And why they are using Kwara State, why the bandits, the Fulani herdsmen, the terrorists are using Kwara State as a testing ground to enter into the western part of Nigeria. And you shall be hearing all these things today. And if eventually Kwara is being reclaimed back to Yoruba land, know that there is an addition to the western part of Nigeria, both numerically and politically. So today, let's quickly delve into what we have for you. We all know Kwara State to be very unique state before now. Before pre-colonial rule, the area that we call Kwara today was inhabited by various ethnic groups in Nigeria. including the Yoruba, the Nupe, and the Baruba. The southern part were influenced by powerful Yoruba kingdom like the Oyo State, or sorry, the Oyo Empire rather. The northern area has ties with the Nupe kingdom, but things actually fell apart when the Fulani through Usman Dafonio actually fought for Afonja and fought with him and dealt with him and reclaimed the land to become a Fulani land. Thereafter, they established the Sokoto Caliphate in Kwara State. So let me not bore you with all this story, but all I'm trying to tell you is that before the resumption or the assumption of President Bola Ahmed Tinubu in Aso Rock being the president of the Federal Republic of Nigeria, Kwara State was ab initio very peaceful, but the death of President Muhammadu Buhari gave birth to the unrest that is happening in Kwara State right now, because we all know that these guys, they are quite empowered during the Buhari regime. They were empowered, they were carrying weapons here and there, and no law to restrict these guys, and everything was actually going haywire. But I must tell you that as it stands right now, the Fulanis and the terrorists are using Kwara State as a testing ground to penetrate into the western part of Nigeria, and it is already happening right now. We remember what happened in Ibadan. About 5 people were eliminated by these same people in the bush in Ibadan Park. Don't forget. And as we speak right now, so many atrocities are going on in Kwara State that even the media cannot even report. As a matter of fact, media cannot even cover that, because I've had so many reports of things that are actually unfolding in Kwara State right now. But the move by President Bola Ahmed Tinubu to reclaim this land, let's see how true is this report, because this report is quite unconfirmed right now, because I don't know how he is going to do it. Is he going to fight them physically? Is he going to use the law of the land? Or is he going to amend the constitution to make sure these people that are be sitting between the border of the north and of the southwest, where would they belong to, if at all there is division in Nigeria? Where do you think that the Kwara State people will go to? If there is a plebiscite today, as what happened in Nigeria as at 19th century, when the Cameroon were asked to choose where they belong to, whether Nigeria or Cameroon. Some of them say that yes, they are going with Nigeria. Some of them said no, they are going with Cameroon. Until today, peace is reigning in the land of Bakassi, because some part of Nigeria were will to Cameroon, and some part of Cameroon will to Nigeria. By choice, they chose where they belong. I think at this time around, if this happened in Nigeria, the Kwara State people have a very big choice before them, because we all know that the most ethnic group in Kwara State right now is they are Yorubas. They are Yoruba. This is why you see the Sunday Igbo of this world stood up and said, no, I must fight this. I must fight this fight. I must defend my people. And he was doing it and doing it so well. And so unfortunately for him, or fortunately for Sunday Igboho, at the measure of his name, the terrorists or the Fulani herdsmen, they run scatter, because they are afraid of this man. They know that if actually or eventually there is a war between the Yorubas and the Fulanis, definitely Yoruba will reclaim back Kwara State. And all of a sudden, they say Igboho abandoned these people in the hand of Fulani herdsmen. Why did this happen? Nobody knows. Because as we speak right now, he is singing the unusual chorus that the APC members are singing. On your mandate, we shall stand. On your mandate, we shall stand. It means that he has jumped the ship right now. He has abandoned the people of Kwara State to fight for their life, to scramble for their life, and to abandon them in the hands of the Fulani herdsmen. But why did this have to happen? Nobody actually know. But it is not quite a very good one, that you are saving people, and to some extent at the middle of the river, you are leaving them in the water to drown. And I must tell you that the people of Kwara, they are actually drowning in the pool of terrorism right now, because as I've told you earlier, there are so many things that are going on in Kwara State that the media are no longer even reporting. There are so many atrocity, abduction. They are entering churches, entering every place to make sure they do what they know how to do best, what they know how to do best, to slaughter and to forcefully convert people into Islam. And this is what they are doing, and they have captured Kwara, and I'm afraid that we don't know the next state in Southwest, because Ekiti State is very close, and they struck there the other time. Ondo State is there, Ibadan is there, and Lagos, I think, is the last place to be attacked. I'm not think this actually happened in Lagos, but if it happened in Ibadan, happened in Ogun State, it's definitely going to affect Lagos, because this state I'm mentioning, they are interwoven. You know that Ogun State surround the whole of Lagos, and anything that if Lagos needs, Ogun State will be sick, and if Ogun State is sick, and Lagos will be scanty. So this is what is on ground right now, and they are not relenting. The Fulani herdsmen, they are not relenting, and they are not ready to give up. But I will allow you to watch this documentary. I will come back to analyze more to you why Tinubu is trying to take a bold step to make sure, yes, he retrieve this land back to the Yoruba land, and it will be a very good news, and it will be a very good thing for the people of Yoruba, and even politically, he is going to help them. Politically, Kwara State will help them, just as the Benue of this world, the Jos of this world, the Taraba of this world are helping the North to get the popularity, or to get the population when it comes to elections, when it comes to political background. These people actually troop out a mass to vote, and this is why you see that if the 19 states of the North are not, happy with you, you cannot win anything like a political position in Nigeria. This was what happened to Peter Obi, while the Tinubu won almost about 14 out of 19 states in the North, and won the federal capital, won Lagos, won Kaduna, and won some other key states. But at the end of the day, what happened? He has to bow out, because he could not garner the number, could not ascertain some number in the North to become the president of the Federal Republic of Nigeria. But you may say, yeah, does vote actually count? Yeah, it can, because this is what the British are actually done to us. They have given the North all they want, giving them the power, giving them the numbers, and giving them the middle belt. About 6 states in middle belt are being given to the northern part of the country. This is why they can hit their chest any day, anytime, saying that the political knife is being held by the northern part of the country. That is why when they are not smiling with you politically, you have to look for one way or the other to.
It's a conversation that's quietly gaining attention across Nigeria, especially in the north-central region. Something is shifting in Kwara State, and while it's not as dramatic as some headlines suggest, it's enough to raise serious questions about identity, politics, and the future of regional influence. What exactly is happening, and why are people talking about it in terms of power, culture, and control? At the center of it all is the growing discussion around cultural identity in Kwara, and how recent political signals linked to Bola Ahmed Tinubu's administration are being interpreted. Some observers say these developments are encouraging a stronger recognition of Yoruba heritage in the state, while others believe the situation is being overstated or misunderstood. Either way, it's a topic that's sparking debate across different communities. Before we go deeper, if you find conversations like this helpful and you want more clear, balanced breakdowns of Nigerian issues, take a second to like this video, share it with someone who follows politics, and subscribe so you don't miss future updates. And of course, drop your thoughts in the comments as we go along. Now, to understand what's happening, we need to look at Kwara itself. Kwara has always been a unique state in Nigeria. It sits geographically and culturally between the north and the south. While a large part of the population has Yoruba roots, the state has historically been influenced by northern political structures, especially during the era of strong political families and long-standing alliances. for decades. In this balance created a kind of hybrid identity. You would find Yoruba language and culture strongly present, but politically, the state often aligned with northern interests. This wasn't necessarily seen as a problem. It was just the reality of how power and relationships evolved over time. But recently, there have been signs that this balance may be shifting. Some local voices are calling for a clearer recognition of Kwara's Yoruba identity, especially in cultural expression, education, and political alignment. These conversations didn't start today, but they seem to be gaining more visibility now. At the same time, reports from sources like Sahara Reporters have highlighted security incidents in parts of Kwara, including an attack in the Isapa community where local hunters reportedly repelled bandits after sporadic gunfire. According to these reports, residents had to rely on local defense efforts before the situation was brought under control. Now, this is where things start to connect in public discussions. When security challenges happen in a region, people naturally begin to question governance, identity, and alliances. Some commentators are linking these events to broader conversations about who controls local structures and how communities define themselves. However, it's important to be careful here. There is no confirmed evidence that ties these security incidents directly to any ethnic or political shift. What we are seeing is a mix of real events and public interpretation, which can sometimes be amplified online. Still, perception matters in politics, and in this case, and the perception among some groups is that Kwara is gradually leaning more toward its Yoruba roots, both culturally and politically. This has led to reactions from different sides. Some northern leaders and commentators, according to various local accounts, are expressing concern, not necessarily panic, but caution about what this could mean for long-standing political relationships in the region. Kwara has often been seen as a bridge between North and South, so any perceived shift could have wider implications. On the other hand, many Yoruba voices see this as a natural development. They argue that recognizing cultural identity doesn't mean rejecting others. It simply means being clear about heritage and representation. And then there are those who believe the entire narrative is being exaggerated. And they say political headlines are sometimes framed in ways that create tension, even when the actual changes on the ground are gradual and complex. So what exactly has the Tinubu administration done in this context? That's where things get more subtle. There hasn't been any official policy declaring a return of Kwara to a specific identity. Instead, what people are reacting to are indirect signals, appointments, political alliances, and the general tone of governance. For example, when federal appointments reflect certain regional balances, people read meaning into them. When local political actors align themselves differently, it also sends a message. These are not always formal declarations, but in politics, signals can be just as powerful. Another factor to consider is the role of younger voices. Across Nigeria, younger generations are more vocal about identity, representation, and fairness. In Kwara, this is also happening. Social media discussions, community debates, and local advocacy are all contributing to the current narrative. Now, let's slow down for a moment and look at why this matters beyond Kwara. Nigeria is a country built on diversity. Every state has its own mix of cultures, histories, and influences. When conversations about identity become more pronounced in one region, it can influence how other regions think about themselves too. If Kwara is indeed redefining how it sees its identity, even subtly, it could encourage similar discussions in other states that have mixed cultural backgrounds. But there's also a risk. If these conversations are not handled carefully, they can create unnecessary divisions. So that's why it's important to stick to facts, avoid assumptions, and focus on what is actually happening rather than what is being imagined. And right now, what we can say with certainty is this. Kwara is experiencing both security challenges and ongoing conversations about identity. These two issues are being discussed together in public spaces, but they are not necessarily the same thing. Let's also talk briefly about the security situation mentioned earlier. Reports indicate that local hunters played a key role in repelling the attack in Isapa. This highlights a broader issue across parts of Nigeria: community-based security responses. While these efforts can be effective in the short term, they also raise questions about long-term solutions. How should security be structured? And what role should local groups play versus formal security agencies? These are questions that go beyond Kwara and affect the entire country. And again, this ties back to governance. When people feel secure and represented, identity debates tend to be calmer. But when insecurity is present, emotions can rise and narratives can shift quickly. So, where does this leave us? At this point, it's more accurate to say that Kwara is at a moment of reflection rather than a dramatic transformation. People are talking, observing, and interpreting events in different ways. Some see a cultural reawakening, others see political repositioning, and some see a mix of both. What's important is how these conversations are handled going forward. Will they lead to greater understanding and unity, or will they create new tensions? That depends on leadership, communication, and how information is shared. If you've made it this far, go ahead and like the video if you appreciate balanced discussions like this. Share it with someone who follows Nigerian politics, and don't forget to subscribe so you stay updated on stories that actually matter. And most importantly, drop your thoughts in the comments. Do you think Kwara is really shifting, or is this just political noise? As things continue to unfold, the best approach is to stay informed, question what you hear, and look at multiple perspectives. Because in a country as complex as Nigeria, the full story is rarely as simple as a headline.